I'm going to introduce our next guest speaker, who's been a fantastic supporter of Pathway to Grow events. He's been to our coffee naturals before. Usually we have a member of the audience doing a book review, and we've only had one author before. This is the first time we've had someone who's got an existing book out, and for the first time we're doing the presentation of a book. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Mike Gardner.
Thank you very much. If I don't use that, can everybody hear me at the back?
Yeah.
That's all right then. I've got a big gob, right? So you can hear me. I just want to take you back briefly, really, to the 1st of November last year. We were due to Skype with my two kids, who one's based down in London, one's based in Exeter, and it didn't come off. We were all busy. The kids were busy. Myself and Wendy, my wife, were going out for a meal at night, and we just didn't get a chance to Skype on that day. On the Monday the 3rd, I went into the Royal Orthopaedic Hospital to have a scheduled hip operation, and all nicely planned and all very routine. The day after, on the 4th of November, I woke up, which is always a good way to start the day, but I rather unexpectedly found myself in the CCU, so the cardiac care unit at Queen Elizabeth. What the going on here, right? And as part of the operation, I'd had a heart attack. So they blue lighted me from the orthopaedic hospital, which I actually quite liked, right, across the QE. Subsequently went on to have a number of heart attacks and a stroke. But that very first night, lay in bed, thinking I never got that chance to Skype with my kids yesterday. And actually being afraid to go to sleep that night. Afraid because I may not see him again. Go back a couple of months and my book came out. I wrote my book, so Lose Your Family Misses You. And the reason for writing the book was because I came across far too many people that Naeem mentioned during his presentation that are working 15 hours a day. And they work 15 hours a day to provide for their family, but the problem is they never get to see their family. Ladies and gents, a lot of you put your hands up earlier on when Naeem asked if there was business owners in the room. I had a quick look around, and I think it was probably about 90% of the audience. We work so hard in our businesses to support our families that you never ever know what's around the corner. You never know what can happen. I went from being able to run 10Ks for fun to not being able to run a bath. You know, from that sort of perspective, you never ever know. So that's the backdrop behind the book, really. As I said, I come across so many people. A crux for the book all the time is about how we set our goals. And a lot of people, a lot of members of the audience, I bet you've all got achievement goals. If I said to you, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to get out of your business? You're saying, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to increase turnover, we want to increase sales, we want to increase customer base, and all those things that come along with that. But what have you got in your life that you want to preserve? What are your preservation goals? Is it that you want to preserve that relationship with your families? Is it that you want to have that time to spend with friends or on a hobby? And how does that balance with what you're trying to do within your business? So achievement goals and preservation goals, and that's the starting point for my book. The foreword for the book, you may have heard of this gentleman. I was very fortunate. I got the foreword for the book written by a gentleman by the name of Raymond Arron, who is a New York Times best-selling author. He's written some of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, and also some other books as well. So it happened purely by accident. I was put forward by one of my clients for a Specialist Mentor of the Year, which I didn't win. However, I got to meet Raymond Arron, which was pretty awesome. And I said to him, I'm going to write a book. And he said, everybody says that. I said, no. I said, I'm going to write a book. He said, everybody's got a book in them. I said, no. I said, I've started writing it. He said, when you say you started writing it, how far are you through? I said, I've got a couple of hundred words. This was on the 27th of July last year. He said to me, "I tell you what," he said, "you're the time doctor. You're into all the time management. This is what you coach people and mentor people around." He said, "You get me the manuscript by the 19th of August." He said, "Completed manuscript." He said, "If I like it, I will not only write the foreword for you, but I will also publish your book through my company." So I said to Wendy, "Do you know what, look, I'm going to have to go for this. I can't do this." Right? So the book was actually published on the 26th of August last year. It hit bestseller status on Amazon. And I'm pretty proud of this next bit, not only just in a time management category, because anybody can do that. It hit bestseller status on books as a whole on the UK market. Wow. And it did that within the middle of September. So I was pretty sure of that. I know I've got to try and get Khaled back on track because I am the Time Doctor. Right? On each of your seats, I did put a bookmark. A bookmark is no good without the book. So I think I've got enough. I think I've had a quick count round. I think I've got less than 50 in the room. So if you would like one of my books, give me a business, come and see me, give me a business card. You can have them free today. All right? I'm Mike Gardner, I'm the Time Doctor. I coach, I mentor, and I help people free up a minimum of at least 2 hours a day. I can't give you extra time, I'm good, but I'm not that good. But what I can do is help you make the best use of the time you've got and allow you not to be in the situation where I was in, where you have that question, I wonder, what if? I'm Mike, I'm the Time Doctor. Thanks, Khaled.
Thank you. Anyone got any questions for Mike? Saj?
Mike, what's one tip you can give us to be more time efficient?
The one tip I would give you is...
Buy the book?
Yeah, apart from buy the book, yeah.
I'll get the book for free today.
Yeah, that's it. Is to stop treating your task list as a to-do list. And that's what a lot of people do. What you need to be doing is you need to be listing down 3 things that, come what may, you either have to complete or at least make a start on during that day. Because if you do that, what you see is you start making progress and you see yourself making progress instead of having 12, 15 items on your list and just being overwhelmed by the whole thing. So that would be one of my key tips. It works for both left brain thinkers and right brain thinkers. So 3 things on your list, and all you need to do, yes, you will need to, you've got to aim to complete them. However, what you can do is at least make a start on them. And that also, you'll know this yourself, so that allows for the curveballs to come in and you to be able to deal with them as well, without having too much of a knock-on effect.
Thank you. Anyone else? After.
Just wanted to ask you, what's the right hours per week a person should work in? I'm not a huge fan of talking about this work-life balance. I try to be quite pragmatic about things because work-life balance means different things to different people. For somebody said earlier on, was it somebody ever said they were just starting a business and just starting up? For somebody who's just starting a business, yeah, you're talking about this, so sorry. For somebody who's just starting a business, the chances are they're probably going to have to put loads and loads of hours in to get it off the ground. But it needs to be the exception rather than the norm. And that's the big thing. It doesn't need to become, it doesn't need to be then the fact that we're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week all the time. We need to work what's good for us. If you take myself as an example, I'm just starting to come back into it. I worked 4 days last week. And that was the first time I've worked 4 days during the week since last October. However, this week, I have this networking event today, I have a networking event tonight, and I have a networking event in the morning, and that's my week. Right? And so you do what's right for yourself. So I wouldn't put a fixed figure on it, but make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did you deal with the challenge and the shock of managing your time when you're told to get this script ready in just a few weeks? Although you're the time management guru, it must have been a bit of a challenge.
Well, I'm quite easy because I can cuff it, but I also had a bit of a heads up a while ago from Khaled. Yeah. So I think you told me back in June you were looking for me to do it, so I actually had plenty of time to do it.
For your book?
Oh, for the book. Oh, yeah.
When you were
sorry,
meant to
for the
meet this
book,
deadline,
yeah.
because obviously.
I mean, what I had to a certain extent was I had a lot of the information anyway. I had a lot of it. I've got over 350 blogs on my website now that I've written, and so some of it was already there. So it was just a matter of trying to pull it together, really. And the book is very much written around sort of hints and tips and bullet points, and you don't have to read it front to back. You can just dip in, and every page has got hints and tips on it. So I had a lot of the information.
Thank you. One more question? Anyone else? Passon? Okay. Lynn? What time is it?
Do you find there's a bit of a culture of people wanting to sort of work harder than everyone else? So it's almost people, I work 10 hours a day, or I work 12 hours a day, and it's almost.
I think there is, and particularly in a lot of organisations, some of the ones Naeem talked about earlier on, a lot of the bigger organisations, it comes down from the top, and there is this culture that appears to be sort of inbred. But there's also this balance then about actually how productive are we within the extra hours. So what tends to happen a lot of the time is that yes, people can work longer hours, but their productivity actually drops. So you can get somebody who can do a good sort of 6 hours for you during the day, and they'll be top-notch sort of productivity. But Naeem mentioned very briefly about the 80-20 rule, and it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same sort of thing comes into that sort of scenario. This whole sort of thing, the longer people work, the less productive they actually become. But you're right, Lynn. I think there is a culture that's inbred in a lot of organisations, and I have to be honest with you, it does my head in. It really does.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to Mike.
Can we get it if you want it? Time management.